Coming up on the Lolo Cynthia Show today, I answer the question, should children born out of wedlock bear their father's surname? I also talk about the cyberbullying that female politicians and women leaders in general tend to get. We spotlight some of the women who have been at the other end of this vitriol. And lastly, we end this show by talking about the newly signed student loan bill that was signed by the Nigerian president. We ask, is it propaganda or is it really important for the students? All of this on the Lolo Cynthia Show today. Should children born out of wedlock take their father's surname? Oh my goodness. This was the conversation that trended online over the weekend. And I am so excited to talk about this because I always have these conversations with my friends. And I will tell you what I tell them. Absolutely not. Children who are born out of wedlock should not bear their father's surname. Normally, the ideal situation is two people meet, they fall in love, they get married, they have kids, and due to that, the child and the wife obviously bears the father's surname. However, this is not the reality. So my advice would be, if you are pregnant right now out of wedlock, do not give that child the father's surname. I would even go an extra mile and say, if that man is a deadbeat dad, that means he's not consistent. You're trying to get hold of him. You can't just get hold of him. You don't know if he's going to be there. And you know in your heart of hearts, because women, we know that you are going to be the active parent, the single parent. Remove his name completely from the birth certificate. Or if you really want to put a name there, put your own father's name there. This is going to save you a lot of stress in the long run. When you look around, you see a lot of single mothers that are running around trying to chase these men, because if you have this man's name on the birth certificate, you need his consent for everything. If you're trying to get a passport, if you're trying to travel, if you're trying to even register them in a school, you need to get the consent of this father. And if this father is a deadbeat father, oh my goodness, you are going to suffer, because you're going to be running back to back, helter-skelter, trying to get this man to give you his consent so that you can do whatever it is that you have planned with your child. So please, wisen up, don't set yourself up, and do not sign anything on that birth certificate. And I know that there's some women that say, look, listen, all of that is nice, but I want my child to have a sense of identity. I want them to know where they're coming from. Not when they grow up, now they'll be like, who's your father? And the child is like, I don't have a father. What am I going to do? I don't want my child to go through that. Let me tell you something, especially I know with women who have boy kids, who are about to give birth to a boy child, there is that thing of, I need my son to have a father figure. I need my son to really know his roots. Let me tell you, put your own father's name on that birth certificate, because your child will now be linked to your father. That would be his identity. Abi, is your father also not man enough to be the father, to be like the father figure for your child? And I know there is also the part of like wishful thinking. This is when women are like, you know what, I need to put the father's name on the birth certificate so that, you know, in case the man has money, he can inherit some property, or I want to put my child on his health insurance, or I also want child support. And you know, when you put the name of the father on the birth certificate, it's irrefutable. It is evidence that this person is definitely linked to them. Hey, let me tell you something. Women, wisen up. Stop believing in wishful thinking. And I know this really happens when this man is wealthy. Sometimes women give birth, get pregnant for men who have money and think that this is their exit plan. Men that have money will show you what we call in Nigeria, shege banza. They will deal with you because they know at the back of your mind, at the back of their mind, that you are able to put up with their excesses. So they would continue to hold the idea that there might be something coming in future for that child. Nothing is going to come. For the next 18 years, you're going to be running around trying to chase this man, trying to make him, whether give you child support or health insurance. They will use it to control you. And what would be worse off is that they won't give you a dime. They will not give you any money. They will not be a present father, but they would continue to frustrate you. And this is not even on my script, but I just remember this and I want to tell women. Many men love their kids in proximity to the women they love. If you guys are in love when you guys started and you guys have a fallout, many men would not love that child anymore because they only love the child if they love the mother. So this is something you need to think about. So when you're with someone and you think because he's rich, it's going to help you, absolutely not. Please step away from what if will happen in the future, because most times nothing happens. So that would be my first point. And I know that there's also a case of, like, 'cause nothing is black and white, of course. There's the case of, listen, two of us are in love. We're not married yet, but we plan to get married. Or, he looks like he's forthcoming. He's not a deadbeat dad. He looks like he actually wants to become a father. I will tell you this. You can't put his name on the birth certificate, but still maintain your own surname for that child. Because one, you guys are not even married. And you might never be. Like, you don't know what's going to happen in future. You don't know if this man is going to be in that person's life for the next 5 years or 10 years. But what you do know is that you are going to be in that child's life. So if this father is someone that you guys might get married, in future, or this person is really an active parent, put your own surname and put his name on the birth certificate. But be aware that it means you're going to require consent from him whenever you want to take like major plans or major decisions regarding that child, like passport, traveling, school, and things like that. And I hope that because he is an active parent, he would not frustrate you into getting that. And this is just me, because I'm a control freak. I'm always going to encourage that, listen, even if you guys look like you're going to get back together or you guys are going to get married, child, just please, like, leave that father's name side blank. If the guy now proves himself to be a real father, then you can now update it in the birth certificate. But this is just my own opinion. What do you think? Should children born out of wedlock, take up their father's surname? And should deadbeat dad even have the right to have their name on the birth certificate? I want to hear what you have to say in the comment section. We'll be right back. Online trolls roam amok, and women who dare to step out of the societal defined lines are aggressively attacked, from politicians to influencers to celebrities to feminists to activists and even journalists. They are cyberbullied, harassed, intimidated, and even threatened with violence. Sadly, the case worsens and heightens when this person is a female politician vying for a political seat. They are viciously attacked with deeply misogynistic comments that are incredibly sexist. They talk about how these women are unable to lead the country because, first of all, they might be unmarried. So how can you lead my country if you cannot lead your family home? Or secondly, just because they are women. Now, this is definitely not an isolated case. That is why today on the Lolo Cynthia Show, we curated a little video for you to see some of the female African politicians that have been at the end of these online vitrials. Enjoy. Most of the Nigerian populace do not know how strategically cruel the Nigerian politicians are. For instance, we look at the newly introduced student bill. On the surface, it looks like something that's really good for the population. But when you look deeper, it's actually a bill set out to trap young Nigerian graduates in the country and stop them from accessing opportunities abroad. The government is basically using a Trojan horse strategy to curb the brain drain. Let me explain. The Nigerian tertiary institution is currently tuition free. So yes, you can pay for like your books, your course registration, your accommodation, but fundamentally it is tuition free. They did this because they're trying to increase enrollment in the university because millions of Nigerians are what we call multidimensionally poor and illiterate. For instance, when you look at the University of Lagos, which is like the richest state in the country, the medical students there pay $38, I believe, per year. And many people still struggle to get that money. So following this structure, the government has been the one, footing the bills for the educational sector. But the budget allocated is always so poor. Like now in 2021, it was just 5.7%. In 2022, it was just 7.2%. And now in 2022, it's a mere 8.8%. It is so low. So because of how low these budgets are, of course, the tertiary institutions are just failing. The schools are overcrowded. The amenities do not work. There are no equipment available there. The hostels look shitty. Literally, the picture is there. And most times actually, the lecturers are poorly paid or not even paid at all. This is why the lecturers always go on strike. Will you believe that last year the lecturers were on strike for 8 months? Yes, that means students were home for 8 months. No school, no work, no job, no nothing. They were just at home, angry and frustrated. Now the government says that, look, we cannot continue to cushion the bill for the tertiary institution. We don't even have the money to do that. And because of this, they've given this tertiary institution financial autonomy. That means they can decide and dictate the amount they put up for their school fees. Right now, even the school fees has tripled just because of that, and many students genuinely cannot afford it. So this is where the student loan bill comes into play. The government decided to sign a new student loan bill because they believe that it would help cushion the impact of the increased tuition for the populace. For you to be eligible for the student loan bill, your family's income must be less than $630 a year or less than $44 a month. Now I'm thinking to myself, people in that financial grade, do they even have bank accounts? How are they going to be able to showcase their finances? Secondly, you need to have certain guarantors. You must have 2 guarantors. They have to be senior civil servants, a lawyer with at least 10 years of experience, or a judicial officer or justice of peace. Now imagine you're a poor person. Where and how are you going to get people like that to become your guarantors? Where are you going to find those kind of people? And now that I'm saying this story, knowing that I'm a Nigerian and the way we like to move like this, I am very certain that this would be another cash cow for the civil servants. This is another way for them to start making money. If you want me to be your guarantor, give me part of the loan that you receive. So now let's talk about the repayment plan. If you are employed, you need to pay 10% of your income to the loan. If you are self-employed, you need to pay 10% of your monthly profit to the loan. Failure to do this, you are going to be fined with I think $650, or you go to jail for 2 years. And sometimes you might just be fined and actually go to jail for 2 years. I'm thinking about all of this. I'm thinking about the bill. I'm thinking about the repayment plan. And I'm remembering that first I'm Nigerian and I know that there are no jobs. There are no jobs in the country right now. So this whole bill seems like it's just a one-way ticket to jail. I take this loan and I know that when I graduate, I'm going to go to jail for sure. Also, this year, the unemployment rate has been projected to be 41%. That's a lot of people. And when you look at it and recognize that we have 4 to 5 million young graduates that come into the workforce every year with no jobs available, you get to see the disaster that we have on our hands. Sadly, even the ones who are fortunate to get a job earn between 30,000 naira, that is like $38, and 50,000 naira, that's like $68 a month. They earn less than $100 a month. Because of the unemployment rate, there are no jobs, there's no money. A lot of people are leaving the country and looking for jobs outside. So there's a huge brain drain happening in the country. And the government have been trying everything to curb the brain drain. This is where I believe that the student loan now comes in as a trap. They know for a fact that, majority of the Nigerians are poor. You get acceptance into the university. You obviously cannot afford it because, the tuition has now tripled or, doubled wherever you are. You have to go access the loans because, of course, you cannot afford the school fees. You access the loans, you finish from school, there are no jobs because there are no jobs anywhere. The economy is not looking like it's going to get better anytime soon. You now find an opportunity to leave the country. Do you think, as a Nigerian, even listening to this, do you think your government will let you relocate for better opportunities if you're still owing them? Even if they haven't said this in the bill, even if they haven't said this out loud, and now this is me thinking strategically and ruthlessly like the Nigerian government, they will trap you in the country. You're not going to be able to leave anywhere until you pay back that loan. If the Nigerian government actually wants to help the populace, this is what they should do. They should introduce grants, they should introduce scholarships, they should focus on, bettering the institutions that are already there instead of building new universities. Because why? They should improve the classroom. They should make sure that they pay the lecturers a fair pay. These are some of the things they need to do right now to ensure that the educational system is better. I do not believe that the student loan bill is the appropriate measure or the appropriate means to solve the educational issue right now in Nigeria. But this again is just my 2 cents. I'm just yapping like I usually do. I want to hear what you have to say. What do you think about the student loan bill? First, do you think it's a propaganda? Do you think it's something that the government just did because they signed this in like 2 weeks or 3 weeks into the new presidency? Do they just want people to know and feel like they're doing something? Or do you feel like this is a right, approach to solve the educational issue that we have in our country? However, if you're Nigerian, if you're a Nigerian student, would you take out the student loan bill if you have the opportunity? I really want to hear what you have to say in the comment section below. Thank you. That brings us to the end of the show today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you really enjoyed the stories, the diversity of them there. If there are more stories that you want us to cover, please drop a comment and I will check it out. If you have a story that you see online and you want me to check it out, tag me on social media. It's LOLO_CY. And you don't know, I might cover the story that you're passionate about. Thank you so much for watching again. My name is Lolo Cynthia and I'll see you next week on the Lolo Cynthia Show.